What is up, my Bodyweight Warriors, and welcome back to another episode of Bodyweight Basics, episode 25 now. Today is going to be one of those back to basics, old school, just pure training vlogs. We're going to do a pretty intense, very skills focused bodyweight upper body session. Today, we've got the canes out, got some boxes out, the rings are going to get up in the trees. It's going to be an all round good time. Just before we kick off today's session, I've got some pre-workout in here. So this is essential amino acids, creatine, I've got some stevia, squeeze of lime, some L-tyrosine, and some electrolytes, and that's basically it. I haven't eaten for the last 5 or 6 hours, so instead of making another meal and then waiting a little bit, I'm just going to train and have something that digests in about 20 minutes. We can worry about food later on tonight. All of them from bulk powders because they sell everything individually, so I can buy the stevia, I can buy the essential amino acids, I don't have to have sucralose and the other stuff that they put in it, just the powder basically. So as I said, today's session is basically purely focused on skills, specifically planche, front lever. You may have noticed recently I'm doing a lot more skill stuff, a little bit less handstand stuff because of this irritation in the shoulder. And to be honest, it's kind of nice to like take a little bit of time off just that constant handstand grind and go back to some skills that I haven't really touched on in like the past 6 months plus. Another reason why I'm excited about today is that it is the first day of an intensification cycle. So generally speaking, different training cycles, you should alternate between volume and intensity. That's generally speaking, you have accumulation, you have intensification. They're the two things you might go back and forth between. And if you're doing for sports, you may go a little bit further. I've talked about this before, I think in the skills Q&A of this vlog, about if you want to train for a skill like the planche or the front lever, it's good to do a few weeks of both high rep work and a few weeks of low rep work. Working both ends of the spectrum is the best gains when it comes to mass and also strength. So this is the first phase in actually quite a while where I'm focusing on some low rep, high intensity, pretty cool skills hopefully.
As always though, starting off with a little bit of hand balancing, this time on the canes.
If you haven't seen these yet, the last vlog I did on this channel was like building my own set of canes, and I gave you kind of a blueprint in there. Still trying to work on turning that into a blog post as well. If anyone is out there sort of interested in hand balancing, it's a cool thing to have lying about. I guess now it's onto the fun strength and conditioning side of things. So one thing you guys did say is you wanted a little bit more information about why I'm doing the exercises I'm doing rather than just doing them, which is fair. Today we're going to be playing with a couple of overload principles. Number one is mechanical advantage. This is when essentially you do an easier variation in the concentric or positive lifting up phase, and you do a harder variation in the eccentric because you are going to be about 120 to 140% stronger in that negative lowering phase. It's a great way to overload the muscle. So firstly we have a mechanical advantage planche push-up, so we're working tuck to straddle at the bottom and then back up to tuck. Definitely a struggle. We're going to apply the same sort of principle to the rings and the front lever now. Mechanical advantage front lever pulls, and I think I've covered these in my front lever tutorial ages ago. when you're doing strength training, you end up having, you know, 1 to 2 minutes rest between sets, maybe even longer. It can kind of end up being a lot of wasted empty space. I'm actually doing a video on Sunday all about this, but one of the things I like to do is juggling. It's a good way to fill that time with something that you're learning, a new skill, something productive. And that's kind of it really, because when you're doing 5 or 6 sets of one exercise, that does take up a good amount of your workout. So the rest of it's kind of kept relatively simple. I'm just going to do some weighted ring dips. By the way, do you like my homemade weight sack? It's literally a bag, and then I've kind of secured it with an Allen key. We're going to hope that one holds up, but it feels relatively solid. That was just a little bit of one arm chin up prep. The front lever's kind of ticked off, which at the moment pretty much close to being. Then it's kind of the next thing to work on. And as we're only doing low reps, I'm going to finish up now with a back off set of those 2 exercises, so the dips and the rows of like 20 reps-ish, just to get a bunch more blood flow in there and kind of work that higher end of the rep range. I'm going to use a band to stabilize the ring so I can get more reps in. I think the ring dips are probably a little ambitious. Right, as usual, I'm going to finish up with some arms as of late. I've been doing a lot more arm stuff lately because, you know, who doesn't love a bit of biceps? But also, if you think about bodyweight skills, if you want to get one arm chin up, there's a huge bicep component. If you want to do handstand push-up, there's a huge tricep component. And if you're not hitting those enough, then adding in some arm stuff is very essential. This one may look a little bit bro, but it is gold for the one arm chin up. So there's a good bicep tricep combo. Obviously you could do this with bodyweight. You could do like bodyweight, bicep curls in the rings, overhead extensions. It's just when it comes to overloading, it's a little bit easier to do with dumbbells versus kind of quantifying in that other way. Now the last thing to finish off today's session is lately I've been noticing my postures got a little bit worse, whether that's because I'm spending more time at a desk, because that's essentially, you know, what I do for a job day in, day out is more time spent around a desk. Although it is standing, I'm still maybe hunched over, typing on a laptop, maybe just not being aware of it. I have noticed my postures got a little bit worse. So one of my favorite exercises just to add in very simply at the end of a workout, and something that I covered in my rounded shoulders routine, I'll just link the full routine below if you are interested, is something called a Swan Hold or prone cobra. Basically lying face down, scapular retraction, working depression, working lower traps and some of those postural muscles. The bruce of it is you have to accumulate 3 minutes hold time. So you can do that in sets of anywhere between 30 seconds and upwards. So I'm going to do 30 seconds, 10 seconds rest and repeat until I've accumulated 3 minutes hold in this position. It sucks, but it's a really great way to fix your posture and it's easy to add in at the end of your session. One down, 5 to go. Last one. That one's a pretty tough one. Also is a nice pump for your back, especially lower back. Another option, if you are really looking into posture stuff and you have got around the shoulder, just eliminate all pushing movements together and do a shit ton of scapular retraction work. So like rows, face pulls, those sort of things. Do that for 3 to 4 weeks for a cycle, and then come back. I guarantee, 1, your posture will improve, 2, your shoulders will feel a hell of a lot better, and 3, your pushing strength will actually have gone up because your biomechanics is now more balanced. And that is basically the workout. Start of a new phase, end of the last one. I have actually gained a fair bit of size over the past 8 to 10 weeks. Kind of unintentionally, half trying to as well, just for a bit of fun and aesthetic reasons. You know, one of the reasons that I'm sure many of us do this, whether you want to admit it or not, is that we like to look good naked. It's definitely a bonus. I've actually had quite a few clients who, although we haven't even been working it directly, just through good training, good programming, good nutrition, they've put on 5-6 kilos over the space of about 6 months. Pretty decent muscle mass, just alongside their normal training, which is always nice. But that is it for this week, guys. The full workout is in the description down below. This is actually the second from last episode in this series. I've got one next week sharing maybe something insightful, something you might be interested in. I hope it'll be interesting anyway. We'll be cutting this series off soon. But there's more stuff to come, more stuff in the future. It's definitely about time to mix things up. On that note, if you are still watching and you do have any requests of videos you would like to see in the future or stuff you're interested in, then please leave a comment down below. Join the conversation. I'd love to hear what you're interested in, what you're enjoying, what you've had enough of. More coffee time, less coffee time. Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Whilst you're down there, you can also hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. Show that you're enjoying this series. You can also hit that subscribe button right next to it and join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe. We're just about to hit 120,000 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy. But that has been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.